good. So some of you should just have a few seconds left. About one more minute. Okay, are we done? Okay, let me use. So, how many of you thought last night's homework was a little difficult?
A little.
I didn't think it was too difficult. I had a couple emails from Kennedy. I did respond, you're right, but you were right, Kennedy. The second one I did not get until in the morning. So, okay, now let's open it up. Now, okay, let's take a look. Now, I told you specifically that when we were doing this, focus on the rows, okay? This question really wasn't too difficult. But again, this is why we're doing these things. Because if you learn the ways to do this when it comes to the AP, you'll be like, oh, they wanted to go this way. Okay, I already know this pattern. So this is almost like memorizations of patterns. Okay, so take a look. All right, now one of the key things, the first thing I did was I created my array. Now, if you notice that in the question, I did not tell you what type of an array to make, correct? I never did. So I went ahead and I just made a string array, okay? And I can still add numbers to my string. I just have to add a null first. Then it's fine. Then I'm good, okay? So that being said, I made my 5 by 5. Now here's where it went differently, okay? Now, what I told you guys to do was focus on the rows. So what I did is I made an if statement. And if I said r modular 2 equals 0, what this would do is this would handle the even rows. With a less than b, it spits back a, meaning the first row, 0 modular 2 is going to spit back 0, okay? Now, 0 modular 2 equals 0, great. So that means status quo. For this row, standard, nothing changes. I initialize it to this. Then I add an if statement. If counter modular 5 happened to be equal to 0, overwrite it with a G. Okay, so for 1, 2, 3, 4, this wouldn't do anything. But for 5, then it runs. Okay, then I print it out, then I increment counter. However, if my row was an odd row, so this would be a second one, okay? So this would be my second row. C is equal to 4. I could have done ARR dot length minus 1. Could have done that as well, not a big deal. Or ARR index 0 minus 1. I could have done that, okay? C is greater than or equal to 0, C minus minus. So that means my C's are ending at the end. The reason I did 4 is because I know my highest index value is going to be 4. And I can go 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. For me, just mathematically, it just, some of you like using the counter. That's fine. For me, I just know four when I'm doing a backwards count, I don't know, for some reason, I just like knowing, I like seeing that number there, okay? So I know right off the bat on my first one, 4 is greater than 0, this is gonna be row, it doesn't matter what row it is, this will be index 4, which means I am starting at the last number. Then what I did is I did the same thing. After that, everything is status quo, okay? Everything is status quo. However, take a look what happens. Some of you probably did this. And when I run it this way, you'll notice that it's in perfect order. Theoretically, you are doing it correctly. But what's happening is, rather than, but here's what technically you are right. But here's the problem. When you're printing this out, you're printing out the 5 indices, okay? But you're printing them out as you're initializing them. So it can kind of fool you. In all honesty, this 6 actually is right here. But what I needed to do was I needed to use a for loop, okay, to initialize first, then another for loop to go through and print it after they've all been initialized. And this for loop is just standard status quo, like up here. It's just cycling through them. So this one initializes them in reverse order. This one reads them the correct way, left to right. Okay. Now, the tricky part was this salient feature right here. If I told you just to do it as is and don't print it out, that's the answer. That's it. If I told you guys do not print it out, that's the answer. Oops, sorry. Okay, boom. Some of you made it really harder. Like, for example, Gary Wu did all these things, integer.toString. It's very clear that Safari helped him out, okay? But he could not figure it out. I tried, like I even told Kennedy, I'm just using it, not a bad thing, not putting you on the spot, but I told Kennedy, focus on the rows, okay? It doesn't necessarily need to be an int array. I believe I told you that, right, Kennedy? Make a string array, okay? So if you guys email me, as long as it's before 8:30ish, I'll get back to you, okay? And Kennedy, I don't know what time your second email was. I don't know how late it was, but she got to me at least the first one before I went to bed. So, okay, but if you guys have questions regarding that, go ahead. I also want to share with you, I asked for a couple of other different ways as well. Give me 1 second. I want to share them with you. So I have Eubin's right here. I have Gary's, and I have Thanos's right here, okay? And I'm going to put these all on a sheet because I want you guys to be able to see these, okay? So the first one I'm going to show you is Getty Woo. Okay, let's take a look at Gary's. All right. Okay, here's Gary's, okay? Now, Gary, he did it here. I don't even know what this real count was. He said he didn't even really use it. I don't know what it was, but if you take a look, this is really convoluted. Also, he used else's when we don't really need to use else's. I mean, this is a really if he's got nested if else's inside of for loops when this wasn't necessary. It's way too long. Eubin's is a little bit more mathematical. Okay, Eubin's is very mathematical, and hers works, and it works perfectly. Okay. So and again, this is a way that you're going to get, but again, she even agreed, yeah, my way was probably a little bit more efficient because she said this took her a while to figure out. Okay. Now, Thanos's. I want you guys to all analyze real quick and tell me what Thanos did. What did Thanos do? Now, it was clever. It was clever. It was a nice attempt, but he would not get points for this on an AP.
What is he doing wrong?
You tell me.
He's not printing or changing the array.
Nope. His works. Like when you print it out, it prints exactly what I wanted. Okay. However, he didn't do the assignment correctly. Why? Okay, so here's what he did. He, in his first for loop up here, very clever. I got to give him credit. Very clever, tried to cheat the system, but I liked it. Okay. What Thanos did was he initialized the array. 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 6, 7, 8, 9, G, 11, 12, 13, 14, G, et cetera, et cetera. Then he used another for loop. And if it was the even, he just printed them out regularly. If it was an odd array or an odd row, he printed it out in reverse. What's the problem with that? Technically, every column at the end will be G. Whereas if I wanted row 1 or row 1, column 4, that should be 6. All of his column 4s are G's. But it's very clever because all he did was he put everything in and then he just, the way he wrote it out, he snaked it. Gotta give him credit for that. Very clever, but not what I was looking for. I needed him to initialize it in that way, okay? And again, I'm gonna compile these. How many of you guys did it a different way than I did it or what we've seen? Allie girl, what'd you do? Share your screen. And again, the reason I've asked them for it, I may ask you a couple of you for yours as well, is because what's happening is I want to compile all of these into a document and send them to you because you know what? If you have 6 different ways of looking at it, one of them is bound to make sense to you. Does that make sense? Okay, let's see what you did. Okay, good. All right, so you kind of did it very similar to the way I did it. The only thing, okay, so I said this in the last class also. So guys, stop falling in love with the else. The if was only needed to see if something was equal to 5. Okay, you don't need the else. Okay. Did this work, Allie? Allie, did this work?
It works. I was trying to figure out how to unmute.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, so this worked?
Yeah, but the only thing is I kept it as an int array.
Okay, that's fine.
So instead of putting G into the array, I just printed it out.
Okay, so there's where you would have messed up because I need it to be initialized with the value G. Also, you tried to pull a Thanos.
Well, technically it wasn't. It didn't really have to be in it. It's just that you had to replace it.
I know, but you understand what I mean. I wanted to be, I obviously maybe now got to really be really careful with my wording. You and Thanos and Ben or Benny are trying to take advantages of loopholes in languages.
Technically, you didn't say to use a for loop either. So you could have just initialized it.
I said for loop. No, if you read the assignment, I said specifically, it says in the assignment using for loops.
Does it?
Yep. Leave the assignment. It specifically says using for loops.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. It's got to.
What if
I'll share my screen.
Hold on. No, I specifically, hold on.
It
I
says create a
specifically
file.
said, hold on. No, I specifically said.
What is it under? I'm trying to find it.
It's under 2D Snake.
Yeah.
It just says.
Nowhere does it say that you use the for loop. It says create a 5x5.
Oh my God. I thought I had that in there.
So
No.
technically, we could have just initialized it for this assignment.
Yeah, and technically you would have been wrong. Because you're not snaking through the array, you're pre-building the array. What the hell?
So if we use like the on the fly initialization, it's wrong.
It's wrong. I mean, obviously, considering what have I told you already? You'll need to know the on the fly to review things, but I don't want you using it. On the AP, you're not going to be able to use it. Okay. So if you try doing that, it's a 0. Okay. But Kennedy, I know for a fact you didn't. So, at least I hope you didn't in the final one.
Well, I didn't have time to resubmit it by the time. So yeah, this one does.
Oh, Jesus. Well, I have the email of your last one, so we'll go on that one and take notes on that one. Okay. Okay. So, but that being said, guys, there's no easy way. There's no easy way out. Okay. All right. So that being said, your homework for tonight. Okay. Now, let me share my screen real quick. Your homework for tonight. Okay. It's already on Portal. Where did I put it? I put it somewhere saying using only for loops. Where did I put that? You know what? I think I put that on the quiz. On your free response quiz. I put using loops only, right?
Yeah.
That's where it happened. Shoot. Okay, I thought I put it on. All right. So this is the 2011 free response. Okay. Now, obviously your answers are online. Okay. Now, I want you to do question 4, part A. Okay. Now I'm going to make this very serious. Some of you guys are not good with 2D arrays. Some of you are. Some of you weren't very good with single dimensional arrays. If I get perfect scores on every single homework, okay, everyone gets a 0. Okay. Because if you cheat, because this is a team effort. So you're screwing the team if you do this. Okay. And but if this is something, look, okay, I actually get this, you better comment the hell out of it. Okay. So, okay, what I want right now is you guys are going to do question 4. Now, remember I told you there was an AP question that was similar to the name question that we had. Remember the name question we just did in class yesterday, that if there wasn't enough letters, we would just fill it with asterisks? You guys remember that? Well, this is the one that you fill it with A's. So you guys had been given this. Can you go back and use my class yesterday as help? Yes. Do not look at the question online. Okay. Do not go and search the answer. Understood? Okay. And this one you have to traverse. This is all traversing. Okay. You are going to get AP questions 100% this year on traversing through an array. This one is initialization, which is still traversing. Start understanding being able to go through every single element index. Understood? All right. That being said, does anybody have any questions? Okay. That's class, what I've done. This is on Portal, already online. I'll have all your quizzes in I have an easier day tomorrow. I only have 3 classes, which means I have a little bit more time for prep. At the latest tomorrow. I don't think I have you tomorrow, right? I don't. Okay, so I'm gonna change it. It's gonna be due Friday. Okay, I'll change the due date online. Okay, let me do that right now. Actually, okay. I hate this. This month, apply filters. Here we go. I'm going to go through real quick. And now you guys are seeing me do this. I'm going to change it to, you have till tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Fair? Okay. Again, guys, if you have questions on it, ask me. I'm here to help. I'll absolutely help you out. Okay. But ask. Understood? Okay. Any other questions, guys? I know, guys, I am beating 2D arrays like a drum, but it's important because I want this down before we move on to array lists. And then we move back to classes where we're going to have methods that spit back array lists and spit back methods and stuff like, or 2-dimensional arrays. So this is why I want you guys to just to the point where like, okay, I've got this down and we have the time. Any questions, guys? Okay, awesome. So I will see all of you guys Friday. Okay. Enjoy your time off. I'll talk to you guys in a couple of days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.